On May 8, 2026, the United States government did something it has refused to do for over 75 years. It opened the vault. The Pentagon launched a website called Pursue, the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP encounters, and published 162 declassified files on UFOs. Not vague summaries, not redacted paragraphs, actual files. Photos from the surface of the moon, videos from military cockpits, FBI memos from the 1940s, witness testimonies from soldiers, pilots, embassy officials, and even astronauts. And 2 weeks later, they released a second batch. More than 50 additional videos, audio recordings from NASA missions, military encounters from the Persian Gulf, the Mediterranean, and the skies over the western United States. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the United States government, on the record, admitting it has been collecting evidence of unidentified phenomena for decades. And now, for the first time in history, they are showing it to the world. This is what they found. Let's start from the beginning. How did we get here? In February 2026, former President Barack Obama appeared on a podcast and said something that shook the world. He said that aliens were real. Not in a hypothetical, philosophical way, he stated it as a matter of fact. The statement sent shockwaves through social media and the news. President Donald Trump responded almost immediately. He accused Obama of revealing classified information, calling it a big mistake. But then Trump did something unexpected. He posted on Truth Social that he would direct the Pentagon, the FBI, NASA, and other agencies to begin identifying and declassifying all government records related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and UFOs. War Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed that the Pentagon was in lockstep with the president. He said, "These files, hidden behind classifications, have long fueled justified speculation, and it's time the American people see it for themselves." FBI Director Kash Patel called it a landmark release. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said it was the first in what will be an ongoing joint declassification effort. And then, on May 8th, the files dropped. The first batch contained 162 records in total, 120 PDF documents, 28 videos, and 14 images. They came from 4 federal agencies, 82 from the Pentagon, 56 from the FBI, 12 from NASA, and 8 from the State Department. The cases span from 1947 to early 2026, nearly 80 years of encounters. Let's go through the most shocking ones. The Apollo files. Among the most extraordinary releases are photos and transcripts from NASA's Apollo missions, the same missions that put humans on the moon. A photograph from the Apollo 17 mission, taken in December 1972, shows 3 small dots arranged in a triangular formation in the lunar sky, captured by the surface camera. The Pentagon added a note to the image stating, "There is no consensus on the nature of the anomaly, but preliminary analysis suggests the photo captures a physical object." From the Apollo 11 mission, the first moon landing, the technical crew briefing records an unidentified object observed on the way to the moon, unexplained flashes of light inside the astronaut's cabin, and a sighting on the return trip of a bright light. Buzz Aldrin himself reported seeing a fairly bright light source that the crew initially suspected could be a laser. A sizable object was observed close to the moon during the mission. These details were buried in NASA transcripts for over 50 years. The Roswell memo. The files include the original FBI memo from Roswell, New Mexico, the most famous UFO incident in history. In July 1947, something crashed near a ranch in Roswell. The military initially announced they had recovered a flying disc. Then, hours later, they retracted the statement saying it was a weather balloon. The declassified FBI memo, part of case file 62-HQ-83894, documents the internal government response to the incident. While it doesn't confirm alien wreckage, the fact that the original memo is now publicly available, unredacted, is historic. For decades, researchers have been fighting to see this document. Now anyone can read it. The Oak Ridge sightings. Some of the most disturbing files come from the 1950s, specifically from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Oak Ridge was the home of the Manhattan Project, where the United States developed the atomic bomb. It was one of the most heavily guarded facilities on the planet, and UFOs kept appearing over it. The FBI conducted photographic surveillance and field reports of unidentified objects observed over the Oak Ridge nuclear facility in the early 1950s. Multiple objects were tracked on radar, observed visually by trained military personnel, and photographed. The objects displayed flight characteristics that no known aircraft of that era could replicate. Why were unidentified objects repeatedly appearing over America's most sensitive nuclear site? That question remains unanswered. The military encounters. The files contain recent military cockpit videos from the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, the Mediterranean, and Greek airspace. These are not grainy, ambiguous clips. These are infrared recordings from advanced military platforms showing objects that move in ways that defy conventional physics. One video from 2024 shows an unidentified object captured by an infrared sensor aboard a U.S. military platform over the western United States. The clip is 1 minute and 39 seconds long. A composite photo released by the Pentagon is based on corroborating eyewitness reports from September 2023. Multiple witnesses described an ellipsoid bronze metallic object that materialized out of a bright light in the sky. The object was estimated to be 130 to 195 feet in length. It appeared and then disappeared instantaneously. Another document from a September 2023 FBI interview describes a drone operator at a U.S. government test site who, along with colleagues, observed a bright light over the horizon, described as a linear object with a super bright light. The identities and locations were redacted to protect national security. The embassy cables. Perhaps the most overlooked files in the release are the State Department cables, diplomatic communications from U.S. embassies around the world documenting UFO sightings. A 1985 cable from the U.S. Embassy in Papua New Guinea documents UFO sightings reported by missionaries and government officials. A 1994 cable from the U.S. Embassy in Tajikistan describes how a Tajik pilot and 3 Americans saw a brightly lit object doing corkscrew twists over Kazakhstan, an object making multiple 90-degree turns at extreme speed. These are not reports from conspiracy theorists. These are official government communications from diplomats, military attachés, and intelligence officers stationed around the globe. The second batch. On May 22, 2026, just 2 weeks later, the Pentagon released the second batch. This time the focus was on video and audio. More than 50 new videos were published, along with 7 NASA mission audio recordings. The Pentagon confirmed that additional files will continue to be released on a rolling basis. The Pursue website will be updated regularly with new material as the declassification review continues. This is not a one-time event. This is the beginning of an ongoing disclosure. So what does all of this mean? Let's be clear about what the files do and do not prove. They do not confirm the existence of alien life. The Pentagon's own 2024 report stated that it has found no evidence that the U.S. government has recovered alien technology or confirmed extraterrestrial contact. But here is what the files do prove. For at least 80 years, the United States government has been actively collecting, investigating, and classifying reports of unidentified objects in the sky, objects that display flight characteristics beyond the capabilities of any known human technology. Military personnel, Pilots, astronauts, and diplomats have repeatedly encountered these phenomena. And until now, most of this information was hidden from the public. The question is no longer whether UFOs exist. They do. By definition, unidentified objects have been documented thousands of times by credible observers using advanced technology. The real question is, what are they? And for the first time in history, the government seems willing to let us try to find out. This has been The Odd Vault. If this unlocked something in your mind, subscribe, because we open a new vault every week. What they didn't tell you, we will.